legends. There's more than one black guy doing a commercial. Mwah! Hello and welcome back, and this video is brought to you by the legends over at Bespoke Post, who keep sending me amazing stuff. How does it work? Well, Bespoke Post is a monthly membership club delivering awesome boxes of top shelf goods from under-the-radar brands. Yes, I'm getting all animated in today's read, aren't I? Every month, Bespoke Post introduces its members to cool new products, outdoor gear, barware, home and kitchen goods, clothing, and much more, even live oysters, which I'd love to get because I absolutely would smash some oysters right now. But I live in Europe and they'd be really rather terrible by the time they'd arrived from America. It's all based on a preference quiz that you fill out. It's free to join, you can skip a month anytime. Unbox box 1, talk about contents. Alrighty then, well the good news is I've already taken it out of the box, so it's a little bit more convenient. What that box was, it's called the copper box, and it contains 2 copper mugs, but that's not all. And by the way, these are like properly weighty, the handles feel like super heavy and nice. What you're going to be doing with these is making a Moscow Mule. How do you make that happen? Well, first of all, you use the ginger syrup, fiery ginger syrup, that came with these mugs. This is all in the box, by the way. Then you add your liquor, and they leave that out of the instructions for some reason. I assume for like legal reasons, but you know what to do. Then you get some ice. You pack it in this canvas bag, you smash it up with this mallet. Why is this bag canvas? I'll tell you why. It's to absorb the extra water so your drink doesn't get watered down and all shit, because no one likes that. I haven't actually used this yet, but I'm going to use it later today, and I'm going to have a great time with it. Yes! Each box has $70 in retail value, but costs only $45. Unbox box 2, talk about contents. Well, that's actually one I did at home because it was a kitchen item. That was called the carnivore box, and it was an awesome, like, mega weighty Italian meat cleaver, which now takes pride of place on my like magnetic knife rack in the kitchen. And I use that to butcher up a chicken. There's some B-roll right now of me at home because I'm not going to butcher up a chicken right now because the studio would get really messy and this isn't binging with Babish. You can preview the box before it ships and decide if you want to keep it. Oh, by the way, that other box, it also came with the spices, which is what you see on the chicken. They said use it on pork, but I was having chicken that night, so I was like, I'm going to use it on the chicken. And guess what? It was mega delicious. You can preview the box before it ships and decide if you want to keep it, swap it, or skip the month for no charge. Bespoke's box lineup is also constantly changing each month, which is great for you, but it also makes a great gift too. Yeah, it does. Right now, you guys can get 20% off your first box by going to bspk.me/blaze20, or just click the link in the description below and enter blaze20 at checkout. And now, today's video. Hello everybody and welcome back to another brand new episode of Brain Blaze. I am Blaze Boy, live TV that went horribly wrong. That's what we're talking about today. What happens here? If you're new, Danny writes me a script. That's what I have right here in front of me. Feels a little light today, but I could just be feeling super strong. I'm actually pretty mega ripped. So, I mean, scripts, this piece of paper just weigh nothing to me. Then I'm going to read it, and then Sam afterwards is going to add in some of the finest vintage memes that you've possibly or possibly not ever seen.
Don't worry about us. Is used to roughing it, and
Sam. I'm spontaneous.
It's long been suspected by people with far too much time on their hands that old Granada Studios is haunted. It's not haunted, because haunting's not f***ing real, is it? Based in Manchester in the north of England, the former home of the world's longest running soap opera, Coronation Street, still going strong after over 60 years of spirit-crushing tedium, has also been the real-life setting of several studio mishaps and live television accidents over the years. Of course it has, because it's been open 60 years. It'd be like, if I was making videos for 60 years and there wasn't some sort of crazy mishap, I'd be like, oh my god, I am the luckiest and best person ever. Also, soaps. I just don't understand. Like, I really just never got into soaps. My sisters watched soaps. Like, you know, Coronation Street, EastEnders, Neighbours, Home and Away, all of these TV shows that I'd vaguely hear on in the background that my sisters were watching while I was growing up. And I was like, why would you watch this shit? It's just real life. It's just people with their regular problems. Can't we watch a drama where it's at least people who are more interesting than us up to stuff? I mean, isn't that what we want to watch TV for? So why would I just want to watch boring people's lives? And the allegedly cursed TV studio made a brief return to the headlines of the UK press in 2018 when the Sun newspaper reported the rehearsals for a forthcoming live episode of BBC comic anthology series Inside Number 9, never heard of any of this had been constantly interrupted by the mischievous ghostly hauntings of dead former cast members of Coronation Street. Oh my god. So far, this is just filled with so much bullshit that I don't care about. It's like, well done, Simon. Brilliant work, YouTube boy. You're really selling the video. Most of them were probably aggrieved that their contracts had been inexplicably terminated after they had died through no fault of their own. For anyone who hasn't seen it, Inside Number 9 is a brilliantly weird series featuring two former members of the League of Gentlemen comedy troupe, Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith. I've never heard of any of this stuff. I sometimes feel like the worst British person ever, and it's just like, what the is, who the is Steve Pemberton? Reece Shearsmith. Isn't Reece a girl's name? I don't even know. No, Reece is a boy's name, because I know that from Malcolm in the Middle. Isn't it the League of Extraordinary Gentlemen and it's about superheroes? Hell. Although Inside Number 9 is often described as black comedy, the diverse standalone episodes can veer off into other unexpected directions, including pure horror. Sounds like an episode of Brain Blaze, doesn't it, Danny and Sam? Doesn't it? And it seems that a dark twist was on the cards in 2018 when Steve and Reece announced that a special live episode for Halloween was entitled Deadline. Oh, what a great and creative name, guys. In fact, they ended up pulling off what might be one of the cleverest twists in the history of television. The concept of producing special live episodes of television drama had become strangely popular in the UK over the last 10 or 15 years, but I never really saw the point. Wait, so it's like a play? I mean, it's just a play, isn't it? It seems like a step backwards to the 1940s and 50s when drama was filmed live out of necessity. Producing a live episode nowadays surely only affects the method of production and creates a needless risk of the whole thing going tits up. Or just do it like a play and don't f it up. It's not that hard. It's not that hard. From the perspective of the viewer, it only serves to disconnect you from the fiction as you spend the whole episode wondering if any of the actors are going to fluff their lines. I don't know, I kind of disagree. Danny and I aren't on the same page. People love going to the theatre. Honestly, I'm not a big fan of the theatre. I love theatre, but I loved acting in it. All through school, loved that shit. But I never really liked going to see plays. I just like being in plays because I'm like, didn't we get past this? We invented movies. And aren't they just like I feel like movies are like an improved version of plays. So why wouldn't we just go see movies? It would be like, yeah, well, what else has improved? I mean, dramatically, it's like CDs, or, high definition audio streaming, are an improvement on cassette tapes. But no one's still listening to cassette tapes. I feel it's just a bit like, why would we perfected this. I mean, we vastly improved it. Why would we still need the old thing with the people on the stage and the limited audiences and the lack of production value? I mean, even in plays that are super elaborate, it's like, yeah, but a movie looks better, doesn't it? But Steve and Reece probably knew what they were doing. As the live episode unfolded on the night of Halloween, we watched the first few minutes of what appeared to be a light farce involving a confused old lady and a lost mobile phone. But all too quickly, the pitfalls of making a live broadcast from the haunted old Granada studios became very clear when the sound kept cutting out. Yes, it's the haunting that's doing this. It's the ghosts. Said no one ever. The action was briefly paused as a continuity announcer apologised for the technical issues, and although we returned to the live broadcast a few moments later with the restored sound, the volume quickly went right down again, leading the BBC to seemingly concede defeat. The continuity announcer declared that Deadline would be broadcast at a later date, and in the meantime, the channel started showing an old episode of Inside Number 9. Yeah, TV's got to be really stressful, right? I mean, live TV. What's that show? Is it Newsroom? With the dude from Dumb and Dumber, which is by far not his most famous movie, and he's a mega famous, super talented actor. Jeff Daniels. That was oh my god, live TV's got to be so stressful. And I'm watching the morning show, which is kind of nice, but it's also kind of I feel it's a bit of a dumbed down version of Newsroom, but it's, it's still very enjoyable. But I'm like, oh my god, this sounds so stressful.
It's okay to feel sad sometimes.
And I'm super grateful that my little media thing that I do is it's very typically low stress. But for viewers who stuck with it, something unusual started to happen a couple of minutes into the repeat. We cut to footage of a dejected Steve Pemberton and Reece Shearsmith in the dressing room lamenting the failure of the live experiment. They soon become aware that their private conversation might be getting accidentally broadcast, and Reece sends out a concerned live tweet asking, I just assumed this happened back in the day. When the f*** is this happening? 2018. Oh, for some reason, I know Danny mentioned it, but I was thinking this was going on in the 90s. Wow. I think if this is the case, I just think it's all a very clever ploy. Asking viewers if they can see them on TV right now, to which the fans responded in real time, becoming a part of the show. And this gradually leads us down a dark alley in which the actors fall foul of the haunting old Granada studios and ultimately meet a grisly death. Because all of this was a meticulously prepared effort to provide the audience with a genuinely spooky plot twist in honor of Halloween. Even that silly report in The Sun was more than likely a collaboration between the newspaper and the production team to dish up a teaser of what was in store.
So that was a fucking lie.
If we're being picky, then maybe the idea of allowing the substitute repeat to run for quite so long was a risky move. It's reported that no less than a fifth of the annoyed audience switched over at the prospect of watching an old episode that they'd already seen and ended up missing the televisual surprise of the decade. Yes, but they're still going to watch it later, and BBC's going to make all their ad money, however the BBC makes money. It's basically like communism.
Patrick, that's my money.
Have you learned nothing about sharing?
It's like, yeah, you own a TV. Well, it looks like you're going to have to pay us. It's like, I've never watched BBC. Looks like you're paying us anyway, aren't you? It's like, what the f*** is this? Why can't you just show adverts like everyone else? What the f***? And no, I didn't pay for my TV license. I did when I had, Watch TV. But then very quickly I was like, I don't watch TV. I just play video games and definitely would never pirate anything from the internet. So you can just not have a TV license. And I was like, well, yeah.
MI6.
What was I talking about? Rather than going on that random tweet. And it's that I like the BBC, to be honest. So I don't know really what I'm complaining about. But perhaps this episode of Inside Number 9 served as a warning to TV producers that live television drama in the modern era is a terrible and pointless gimmick which will only generate attention if it fails. We haven't seen, except this generated loads of positive attention because it was a really cool idea. And was it actually, I think it was actually live as well, which is pretty cool. We haven't seen so much of it over the last few years, so maybe drama producers took note. It's best to play it safe and leave the live format to news channels and magazine shows and daytime tripe. Not a lot can go wrong in those departments. Oh my god, are you joking, Danny? It totally can. Or then again, maybe this just opens doors to an even bigger drama with a major plot twist that nobody ever saw coming. Oh yes! Snakes in The Matrix Reloaded. Okay. In what must rank as one of the most awkward live interviews of all time, the veteran award-winning entertainment correspondent Sam Rubin appeared to be giving his career a long kiss goodnight when he had a chat with Samuel L. Jackson in 2014. Jackson was on promotional duties for the remake of RoboCop and had already conducted a long chain of interviews that day, but none quite like this one for the KTLA station. Conducted by video link, though apparently Jackson was only able to hear the voice of his interviewer, things got off to a woeful start when Rubin asked Jackson about the reaction to the actor's recent Super Bowl commercial. Jackson initially looked puzzled and inquired,
What Super Bowl commercial?
Oh.
And then the penny dropped. It appears that, oh no, he's mixing up his black dudes, isn't he? Oh no, this is super uncomfortable. I'm feeling physical cringe right now. Rubin appears to have got Samuel Jackson mixed up with Lawrence Fishburne. They're completely different dudes. Obviously, big brain.
You're as crazy as the people on Twitter. Right. I'm not Lawrence Fishburne.
Who had just appeared in a Super Bowl commercial for a new Kia sedan in his familiar guise as Morpheus from the Matrix. So this guy thought that Morpheus was Samuel Jackson. It's often been suggested that Jackson got genuinely angry, but it seems more likely that he had fun ripping Rubin to shreds. He retorts, "We don't all look alike. We may all be black and famous, but we don't." F***ing legends. There's more than one black guy doing a commercial. Mwah! Rubin appears to spend the next few minutes laughing nervously and suggests that they swing the conversation round to RoboCop, but Jackson's having none of it. Hell no, he replies. He then asks incredulously, you're the entertainment reporter? You're the entertainment reporter for this station. You don't know the difference between me and Lawrence Fishburne.
My mistake. I apologize. Really, my big mistake. Let's talk about...
That must be a very short line for your job outside there.
No,
As squirming Rubin eventually manages to steer the interview round to RoboCop, Jackson continues to pull it back when he mentions his co-stars of the film, Gary Oldman and Michael Keaton. He asks, you do know who they are though, right? Just in case you've forgotten some of them on the show. Do some work, do some research. Make sure you don't confuse them with some other white actors. When the pair met up in person later that year during an interview promoting Captain America the Winter Soldier, Jackson revealed that he had no hard feeling, though he admitted that he had nearly turned up in his I'm not Lawrence Fishburne t-shirt. Jackson mentioned that he didn't even realize it was Sam Rubin at the other end of the link and that he was just having a good time. Yeah, I have to say, I do love it when celebrities do this kind of stuff. I mean, it's... even if it's quite close to the bone, it's definitely good-natured. And I really like this. It's like that story, I'm pretty sure I've told it on Brain Blaze before, when Robert Pattinson's just being interviewed on some morning TV show. And he just they ask him about his movie about elephants at circuses or something. And he just starts telling this story about when he was a kid, he went to the circus and he saw a clown die in one of those tiny clown cars in a fire. And then it gave him trauma over clowns forever. And then a few weeks later, someone's interviewing him again and asked him about the clown story. And he's just like, oh no, I just made that up. I was just bored. And it was on some huge morning show in America. And I'm like, fucking legend. Like Samuel Jackson in this story. Who's not Lawrence Fishburne. Jackson mentioned that oh, sorry, I read that already. But although Sam Rubin has given numerous apologies since then, it's been observed that by some that he brings up the interview at almost every available opportunity and almost appears to proudly enjoy the attention it received. Yeah, I mean, good for him. The only way to deal with that is to lean into it and be like, yeah. It's pretty embarrassing, right? But cool story. I mean, it happens. What am I going to do? You gotta lean into it. He also later claimed that he had in fact been referring to another commercial screened during the same Super Bowl, this one for the Winter Soldier movie, which did briefly feature Jackson. No, you didn't. He says that he didn't mention this during the interview as he was already feeling a bit dumb, but I'm not convinced. For a start, it was Lawrence Fishburne commercial that had been generating all the buzz, which is why Rubin had asked about the reaction, albeit to the wrong person. So are you leaning into it or you're not? Because you keep bringing it up later. Maybe initially you gave an interview and then your PR person was like, mate, this one is a show, so just lean into it and see what we can do. Just go for it. Just do it! And if Rubin really had been referring to the other commercial, he surely wouldn't have felt stupid or felt the need to nervously apologize for the best part of 4 minutes. I think Rubin was talking out of his arse. He sure fucking was. But then you don't remember asking me.
A goddamn thing.
Ba-da-bum-bum-ch. Lula the elephant. If I was asked to pick the most often repeated clip on UK television, then I might be tempted to go with Man's First Step on the Moon, the vows exchanged at a royal wedding, or the shocking climax of the 1985 Lawn Darts final. But I suspect that, in truth, the most often repeated clip on UK television is from a children's show broadcast in 1969, in which one of the presenters in the studio ends up sliding around on elephant shit and piss while attempting to wrap up the show. I don't know if anything is going to beat the pure physical cringe of the last entry. Blue Peter is another British institution which, much like Coronation Street, is still going strong after 60 years on air. I was on Blue Peter once as a kid. I think, what was it? There was a play at my primary school. Was it Peter Rabbit or some like that?
I don't remember asking you a goddamn thing.
And Blue Peter came to make an episode about this play that we were making. And that's all I remember about it. We got a Blue Peter badge, which was pretty tight, because it allows you get lots of free. And then I got a second Blue Peter badge, because I won a competition. And then I lost them both, and I was really sad, because as a kid, having a Blue Peter badge was pretty tight. Having two of them was like, yeah, bitch. Yeah, that's sad. Yeah. My parents were also upset, because then they had to pay for me to go and do it. Blue Peter is another British institution, which, much like Coronation Street... Wait, I read that already. The magazine program shows young viewers how to make things, how to build a garden, how to bury a time capsule, how to look after your pets, and the presenters would often travel to exotic locations around the world to give the kids an insight into what the world looked like outside of Shepherd's Bush. The Shepherd's Bush. Is that where the TV studio is? In 1969, during the beginning of the golden age of the program, the Blue Peter Dream Team of Peter Purbs, Valerie Singleton, John Noakes, and Shep the dog. Oh yeah, they had a dog. That was cool. We're preparing a thrilling summer expedition to Ceylon, now known as Sri Lanka. As a little teaser for the adventure, Blue Peter wanted to explain all about the important work that the elephants do in Ceylon, so they decided to invite a baby elephant called Lulu into the studio, accompanied by a zookeeper from Chessington Zoo called Mr. Smith. The idea was simple enough. Mr. Smith would escort Lulu into the studio with a chain around her neck, while the presenters gave her a friendly pat, made lots of cooing noises, and talked about the kind of thing that elephants drink, eat, and do. Fascinating content for everybody. Rehearsals had gone quite smoothly, but that might have been because Mr. Smith had been holding a massive stick with a bulbous end, which he used to tap Lulu lightly on the head to get her to follow his commands. When Blue Peter's editor, the marvelously named Biddy Baxter, saw the rehearsal footage, she was concerned that it looked a bit cruel and asked Mr. Smith to be happy to lose the discipline stick when the camera started rolling for real.
I don't like your plan. It sucks.
And he'd be like, yeah, but the discipline stick is how I get her to do the shit you want her to do. And the producer would be like, yeah, that's brilliant. Lose the stick, okay? Lose the stick, because this is how producers behave. And and he'd be like, I don't think that's it. Just lose the stick, okay? Rolling on one. Yeah, I get the feeling it's going to go horribly wrong, because Danny told us they did at the beginning. But also because I'm a giant big brain. But this meant that the liberated Lulu took the opportunity to go wild in the studio on the day. After drinking from a bucket of water as rehearsed, Lulu surprised the presenters by showering the studio floor in pee, but they hadn't really stuck to the script and proceeded to feed Lulu a few nice buns as if nothing had happened.
And you'll notice that she hasn't got any tusks, and actually in Ceylon, even the male elephants don't have tusks. And,
we're having a slight penny down here, a slight problem.
Get out of the way, I think.
I didn't realise Blue Peter was live. I have to say, I just didn't know that. It was slightly harder to ignore Lulu's next move, which was to proudly defecate all over the floor, and at this point Mr. Smith decided that it might be a good time for him and Lulu to exit the stage. But after gently guiding Lulu out of shot, it soon became clear that the baby elephant didn't want to leave her new friends. She seemed particularly taken with John Noakes. Lulu came hurtling back into shot, dragging a helpless Mr. Smith behind her, who cried in vain for his assistant to bring out the discipline stick that Biddy Baxter had taken off him. Baxter, I need a fucking discipline stick! Baxter! Biddy, no! Clumsy Lulu stomped on the foot of her new friend John Noakes, who yelped out in pain and started hopping around the studio floor right onto the little brown presents that Lulu had deposited. This is bad. It's not like the previous entry bad, but it's bad. Deposited just a few moments earlier. But huge credit goes to Valerie Singleton, who remained immaculately professional throughout the chaos. As her co-presenter is slipping and sliding around in elephant shit, she turns to the camera with a jolly smile and says, "I'm sure we're going to see all kinds of exciting things in Ceylon." The weird thing is that the clip has been repeated thousands of times on blooper shows over the years and is often considered to be a wacky illustration of how live television can go comically wrong. I can't believe I'd never seen this. But it wasn't until 40 years later in 2009 that presenter Peter Purbs revealed in his autobiography how this is actually a misconception. The episode was recorded the day before transmission and the BBC still decided to broadcast the show in its unedited glory. Yeah, I mean, it. Because, sometimes you just need the content. Like, I've got videos where it's like, oh yeah, that's a pretty big error you made there, fact boy. You want to edit that? Publish! Let the comment section go wild. It's all engagement, baby. It makes you wonder what on earth they would have needed to happen for the BBC to pull it from the schedules. I would suspect that at least two of the presenters needed to be mauled to death. Hopefully not Shep the dog. Yes. Mistaken identity. One of the most memorable examples of a monumental live interview cock-up occurred on the BBC News channel in 2006. Is this the one where they interview the wrong guy? He comes in for an interview about being a janitor or something, and they interview him like they think he's the head of some tech company. And he's on live TV like being like, yes, I agree. The BBC had just shown a report on the verdict reached by a judge in a court battle over the breach of contract between two Apples. Apple Computer, co-founded by Steve Jobs, and Apple Corps owned, and Apple Corps, or should that be Core? It's really hard. Because, dude, that's a clever play. It's called, like, Apple Corps, like corporations, maybe, but, like, it's supposed to be, it's spelled like corpse, like, like the military corps. But it's Apple Core. Co-owned by the Beatles. Owned by the Beatles. and Yoko Ono.
Oh, God, kill me now.
Hello.
The two companies have been feuding over a similar name and had earlier reached an agreement that Apple Corp could never entered the computer business, while Apple Computer, now Apple Inc., would never enter the music business. Oh my. Guess what they did. So when Apple Computer began plastering their logo all over the new iTunes Music Store in 2003, Apple Corp felt that this was a breach of their agreement. The judge disagreed and ruled that Apple Computer had not violated the complex wording of the original agreement. Apple Corp was ordered to cough up Apple's legal fees of $2 million. Oh, bloody hell. But what did our experts make of this surprise verdict? Back in the studio, BBC News presenter Karen Bowerman put that very question to the technical expert, Guy Cuny. But Guy looked a bit confused and slightly scared. And that's because this is it, isn't it? And that's because the guy who had been plonked in front of the camera to give his expert opinion was actually a guy called Guy Goma. And he was a business studies graduate from the Republic of Congo. He was meant to be attending to an interview for a job as support cleaner. Data support cleanser. Oh, okay, sorry, I misremembers and I thought he was a cleaner, but he's a data support cleanser. No idea what that is. It could be a cleaner. I mean, but he's got a business degree, so I guess he's not there to clean. Although, you never know. And that's because the guy who had been plonked in front of the camera was something I've definitely read already, so let's I don't know why I'm talking in my normal voice. The confusion had arisen when a producer went down to the reception area to bring technology expert Guy Cuny into the studio. He found the job interview candidate, Guy Goma, hanging around and looking a little apprehensive. And when the producer asked if his name was Guy, the answer naturally came back in the affirmative.
I'm the guy. The real guy.
I'm not quite sure what was going through Guy Goma's mind when he was seated in front of the cameras and wired up with a microphone. He may have thought that this was standard practice for any job interview at the BBC. It's like, yeah, just in case, what we're going to do. You know, you're here to do data support cleansing, whatever the that is. But, you know, this is the BBC, so at any moment you might be called to be an on-air talent. It's like, okay, I guess. I mean, you're at a job interview. You generally do what you're told. I totally understand. I'd probably have done the same thing. I'd be like, well, this is weird. Wow, you're the actual news guy. Wow, you really go to a lot of... Isn't it like, shouldn't he be on air right now? We're really doing this practice? Oh, hello. But he was visibly shocked when Karen Bauman then introduced him to the audience as technology expert Guy Cuny. He replied that he certainly was surprised, but Karen didn't realize what he meant, though he was surprised to be sitting there today in front of the television audience, not surprised by a verdict that he knew absolutely nothing about. Fair play to Guy Goma. Although he was struggling with his English, he still tried his best to answer the question being thrown at him, while the real Guy Cuny looked at the screens in the reception area and wondered what the hell the BBC were playing. Guy Goma is it Guy Coma or Guy Goma? Danny, this is so confusing. He started off as Guy Goma and now he's Guy Coma. I'm guessing he's Guy Goma because Coma's probably what your autocorrect has changed his name to.
Get your shit together. Get it all together and put it in a backpack. All your shit. So it's together.
Guy Goma came out with such expert wisdom as, if you can go everywhere, you're going to see a lot of people downloading through internet and the website everything they want, but I think is much better for development and to get on the easy way, and so faster, the things they're looking for. Okie dokie. Still, he's an absolute legend for giving it his best shot, though. And the saddest part of the story is that he didn't even get the job as data support cleanser. Screw you, BBC. Yeah, that is sad. Maybe they should have him back as just an expert. Just like when they don't have there's not an expert, they just roll out this dude and be like, today you're an expert on plugs. Carry on. Go. Nailed it. I suspected for a long time that this one was just a hoax, but all the evidence seems to suggest that it was entirely genuine, and probably a very painful mishap, if perhaps not quite as painful as it may have first looked. In 2016, the national Polish TV channel broadcast another live episode of their Saturday morning show, Question for Breakfast, co-hosted by Marzyna Rogalska. This morning's exciting guest was none other than superstar celebrity Marcin Poloniewicz, who I'm sure we remember from that incredible magic act that propelled him to the semi-finals of Poland's Got Talent. Ah, yes, that guy. Super famous. Everyone's seen Poland's Got Talent semi-finals. The fabulous magician persuaded host Marzyna to participate in the classic nail-in-the-bag trick, in which he lined up 3 paper bags on the desk and showed everyone at home that one of them had a long vertical nail hidden inside. Oh my god, is he about to slam his hand straight through a nail like some Jesus shit? That's cray-cray. After quickly mixing the bags around at super speed, he then invites Marzyna to slam her hands right down on one of the bags and hope that it wasn't the bag containing the nail. Yeah, no. Now, this could be quite dangerous if Marzina chose the bag herself, so Marcin helpfully points out the bag that she should choose. He's the guy who knows what he's doing. And even more helpfully, he grabs a hold of Marzina's hands and slams it right down on the chosen bag. But something goes a bit wrong. What he actually does on live morning television is to slam Marzina's hand right down on the bag containing the nail, leading the presenter to make lots of unhappy wailing noises before briefly dropping to the floor in agony.
Kurwa, przepraszam.
Oh my god, my dude, you are in trouble. Although I guess that's what you get when you bring the semi-finalist onto the show. One of the reasons why I thought this might have been a stage prank is because Marzina's co-presenter doesn't look remotely fazed by the live impaling of his co-host and just carries on as normal. I guess he thinks maybe he's being pranked or something. But he may have assumed that Marzina was just larking about. There doesn't appear to be as much blood as you might expect to see after shoving her hand straight through a fucking nail. But it was a well-rehearsed prank. You wouldn't really expect to hear horrified Marzina muttering. You wouldn't really expect to hear Marcin muttering, "I'm sorry," on early morning television. Although that's exactly what I'd say. I'd be like, "Oh my god, I'm so sorry. Oh my god, cut, cut, cut! Cut!" And they'd be like, "You're not the director, it's live TV, you can't cut." It's like, oh my god, then lower a curtain, do something, please!
Daddy, chill.
It's probable that Marcin took some safety precautions and ensured that the nail was some kind of trick prop rather than a standard nail. But what's very clear is that Marzina was genuinely pierced and pained by the nail, and she was immediately taken to hospital where she was given antibiotics and a tetanus injection for the superficial wounds. She later appeared on Facebook with a bandaged hand, reassuring fans that she was feeling fine and helpfully pointing out that Marcin hadn't meant for this to happen. Marcin had gone a little quiet since those glory days of Poland's Got Talent, but he's still very much available for her. The kids' parties. Never mind the bollocks. Here's Bill Grundy. Finally, the Samuel L. Jackson interview may have been embarrassing and BBC News interview may have been confusing, but here's a regional interview that lasted only a few minutes and was broadcast only in the London area, and yet helps launch a new career while simultaneously destroying another. It was all kind of Freddie Mercury's fault. Oh, Bill Grundy was the middle-aged and ever-reliable host of the regional news programme Today. In late 1976, the group Queen were scheduled to appear on the show, as the band had to back out at the last minute as lead singer Freddie Mercury required emergency dental surgery. Apparently, Freddie's mighty chompers hadn't been examined by a dentist for 15 years, and he was long overdue a visit. If he'd only made more effort to keep with his dental appointments, we may not have witnessed such a show on that tea time broadcast on the 1st of December. Oh my god, what's going to happen? In desperation to fill a slot, the producers of Today made the curious decision to invite the emerging punk band the Sex Pistols to come on and have a cozy chat with old Bill. The angry punks, accompanied by their entourage, stumbled into the Thames television studio and proceeded to get blind drunk in the green room as they waited for their cue. Yeah, it seems like a brilliant idea to just put liquor in the green room when the Sex Pistols are coming to your show. Or like any punk bands. Or anybody. Why have booze in there? But what happened next wasn't entirely the fault of the pissed up punk band. Bill Grundy clearly didn't appreciate having these snotty-nosed youth upstarts on his family-friendly show, but he weirdly appeared to be goading the band into outrageous behavior. From the beginning, he rarely appeared to address the band directly and refused to use their name on screen, only referring to them as the band. Guitarist Steve Jones was the first to drop the F-bomb, something which was unthinkable on T-Type TV in the 1970s. Legend. When asked what they'd done with the tens of thousands of pounds that this anti-materialistic band had received from their record company, Jones candidly replies, "We f***ing spent it, ain't we?"
Well, tell me more about it.
You fucking spent it, haven't we?
I don't know, have you?
Yeah, it's all gone.
Really?
Down a boozer.
Really? Good lord.
Bill acts as if nothing happened and goes on to unfavorably compare the band with proper musicians like Beethoven and Mozart. Oh my god, Bill is a bit of a nerd, isn't he? Frontman John Linton, back then better known as Johnny Rotten, says something which Bill doesn't quite catch, so Mr. Rotten is asked to repeat it. Johnny Rotten gives a hostile glare and replies, "Nothing, rude word, next question." Bill inexplicably wants to know the rude word, so Johnny Rotten helpfully responds with, "Shit." Where did you think that was going to go, Billo? One member of the band's drunken entourage was a young punk called Siouxsie Sue, oh my god, who was then unknown but would go on to become the legendary punk icon in her own right with the band Siouxsie and the Banshees. Don't know who you are, obviously, because I don't know how to pronounce the name.
You uncultured swine!
Bill Grundy seems quite taken by Siouxsie and appears to start flirting with her, but this doesn't go well with the Sex Pistols.
Are you worried or are you just enjoying yourself?
enjoying myself.
Are you?
Yeah.
That's what I thought you were doing.
I always wanted to meet you.
Did you really?
Yeah.
We'll meet afterwards, shall we?
Steve Jones sneers,
You dirty sod. You dirty old man.
Well, keep going, Chick. Keep going.
oh my god, dude, this is ruining your career, isn't it? Why are you drunk? At which point Bill just seems to lose the plot and dares the band to say something outrageous within the closing few seconds of the tea time broadcast. Steve Jones accepts the fun challenge and says,
You dirty bastard.
Go on, again.
You dirty fucker.
What a clever boy.
What a fucking rotter.
Well, that's it for tonight. The other rocker, Abel, and I'm saying nothing else about him, will be back tomorrow. I'll be seeing you soon. I hope I'm not seeing you again. From me, though, good night. As
the closing time music kicks in, the band starts dancing around the studio in mock appreciation of the crappy theme tune. While Bill tells the audience at home that hopefully see them again soon. But he doesn't. News of the regional broadcast went national, and newspapers were reporting on furious viewers had genuinely smashed their own television sets to bits in anger at the inappropriate broadcast. Who does that? Just turn it off. Bill was accused by his own bosses of making a gross error of judgment which led to inexcusable and sloppy journalism. And the Today Show was cancelled very shortly afterwards. Oh my god, this is like back in the day, cancel culture. We never really heard much from Bill again, but the Sex Pistols became famous overnight, and the show is often credited with signalling the arrival of punk rock in the mainstream. So, we have Freddie Mercury's teeth and Bill Grundy's idiocy to thank for the explosion of punk rock in 1977. But don't take my word for it. That's the expert opinion of respected music professor and historian Guy Gomer. Thank you. This has been an episode of Brain Blaze. Thank you so much for watching. Yo. If you'd like to purchase some merch, you can do that at purchasethemerch.co. There's a limited edition free Danny t-shirt or Keep Danny t-shirt, both available right now over at the merch store. Please do check it out. There's a link below. And thank you for watching. Hello there, yes, I'm still here just to give a quick plug at the end of today's video to something new that I'm working on called Into the Shadows. It's a brand new channel from me, and if the name doesn't give it away, it's very much focused on the darker side of things. Early episodes have covered things such as how we fight the world's deadliest disease, how the Congo suffered the worst of colonialism, and how the Nazis escaped Europe to South America. So if you'd like to explore the darker side of history and science and humanity, please check out Into the Shadows. There is a link below, and goodbye for now.